Good afternoon. My name is Tara, and I'm going to be talking about and showing you some classical South Indian dance today. Now, what you just saw me do is called a namaskar, where we bow, reaching up to the heavens, touching Mother Earth and apologizing to her for the stamping we're about to do, and then reaching up again to God, your teacher or guru, and the human heart. And that's how we begin and finish dance. Now today I'm going to show you a few different dances and talk about them and where they come from. And the first dance is about Ganapati, who is an elephant-headed god. And when people have problems, they ask for his help, and all sadness and obstacles are removed. Ganapati wears a gold necklace around his throat. He is the child of Shiva, the Lord of Dance. He rides upon a mouse, he eats sweets, reads books, and gives us knowledge. And that is why we bow and say Namaste to Ganapati. So this first dance is called Ganapati Vandana. Thank you. So that was the Ganapati Vandana. And you might have, for those of you who saw the intro, you might have recognized some of the gestures I did before the dance while I was doing the dance. And so we saw Ganapati and the obstacles that he removes. We saw him eating sweets and reading books and imparting knowledge. We saw him with the gold necklace around his throat and his father Shiva, the Lord of Dance. So this is a storytelling art form, and we tell stories of ancient Hinduism and the Hindu mythology through dance. Now, a lot of you may have seen many different kinds of dance, but have you seen South Indian classical dance before? No. No, most people haven't. But there are a lot of commonalities between this dance and dances you might have seen. For instance, in tap dance, what does it have in common with tap dance?
Feet.
Yes, lots of footwork. So we create a lot of rhythms with our feet. But instead of wearing shoes, we wear ankle bells. And those ankle bells help give us rhythm when we're moving. So it creates music and it creates more percussion when we're stamping our feet and dancing. So our footwork actually becomes part of the music. Just like in hip hop, we also have this neck movement here. Now, of course, in old school hip hop you see this, but you don't necessarily see eye movement. And in classical Indian dance, the dancer moves the eyes along with the neck. And we do that, again, to emphasize the beat. Sometimes it's to show femininity or other things. Now in ballet, of course, you see a lot of grace, a lot of turns, a lot of sweeping movements, which you see in classical Indian dance as well. One other commonality with ballet is the storytelling aspect. And of course in ballet one tells stories of great literature and history like Sleeping Beauty or Romeo and Juliet. But in Indian dance we tell stories from Hinduism. And so we're telling stories about all the wonderful deities, the different gods and goddesses, and all of their characters and their foibles and the events that happened. And so one of the ways that we show these stories is with our hands, and we show them through different mudras. So I'm going to show you some mudras, and you can try them right there where you are in your seats. So we're going to start by stretching out our hands and our wrists. And you can roll them the other way, and then open and close your fingers to warm them up. And we're going to start with something very, very simple. So this first one is called pataka. Can you all say pataka?
Pataka.
Good. So here we're showing flag. Now we can show a breeze by showing the flags blowing in the wind. Good. Excellent. Now we're going to open up the thumbs to the sides, and this is called Ardha Chandra. Can you say Ardha Chandra? Yes, that's a hard one. Ardha Chandra. Ardha is half, Chandra is moon. So we're showing the shape of a half moon when you're showing the shape of the crescent there. Now we're going to face our palms towards the floor and put one hand on top of the other. The thumbs stay out to the sides and they're going to circle. We're showing an animal here. Can you guess what animal this is?
Turtle.
Fish. You were right, the first instinct. Everybody always guesses a turtle. But this is a fish. Great. Here, I'll step here so you can see over there too. Good. Now we're going to give some water for our fish to swim in. So here we're showing Ala Padma. Can you say Ala Padma? Ala Padma means lotus. That's the national flower of India. And they grow in water. So we're going to show our water with our left hand, the fingertips together, and gracefully through the knuckles of the hand and the joints of the wrist, you're going to come down. Excellent. Good. Now we're going to show Ala Padma on the other side, and we're going to show another animal, this time with your right hand. Curl the first finger into the crook of the thumb and touch the middle finger to the tip of the thumb. This is Brahmara. Can you say Brahmara? And do you know what animal this is? Not a bird, but it does fly. It is a kind of bug, a bee, yes, going into the flower. Excellent. We'll show another flying animal. So remember when we had Ardha Chandra, our hands like this? We're going to cross them in front of us at the wrist, but turn them so our palms are facing us and hook the thumbs. And this is Garuda. And what animal is this?
Butterfly?
Not a butterfly, but
A bird?
a bird, yes.
It is a bird.
Good. Excellent. So we show lots of different things in nature, animals, elements of nature. We also show the different gods, whether it's Ganapati with his beautiful face, his long trunk, and his majestic ears. We show Krishna, who plays a beautiful flute and who is beautiful and dark as the thundercloud. We show Saraswati, who plays a musical instrument called the veena and rides upon a swan. we show Rama, who has an arrow that he plucks out and shoots, as he is an archer. So we show all of these different characters with the mudras. There's a lot of theater in classical Indian dance. And of course, there's a lot of facial expression, abhinaya, which tells the stories, just like actors. Now, the next story I'm going to do is a dance that is pure abhinaya, pure expression and story. So you're not going to see the footwork that you saw in the first piece. It's pure storytelling, and it is about Krishna. Now, this particular story about Krishna is about how his mother Yashoda, the milkmaid, one day looked inside of his mouth and saw the whole world. And this is how it happened. Krishna was hiding from his mother. He was very mischievous. And his mother was looking for him. She'd hear the sound of his footsteps and look, but he'd run away. Finally, she found him and said, "Krishna, you quickly come here to me. Bring your little feet here. Your face shines like the moon." Now, Krishna was playing with his friends by the beach. He said, "Come, let's go by the water. We'll make a sandcastle and decorate it." And he decided to taste a little bit of sand. Now, his big brother caught him and said, "Ah, you bad boy, eating sand. I'm going to tell Mother. Ha! Get you in trouble." So he went off and told Yashoda, and she said, "What? Krishna is eating sand. Don't worry, I'll find him." So she went off to find him, and she looked for him, and finally she came across him and said, "Oh, Krishna, you bad boy, eating sand, open your mouth." And he said, "No." And she said, "Oh, Krishna, you bad boy, I'm going to pull your ear. Now open your mouth." And he said, "No, I wasn't doing anything. Everybody is telling lies." And she said, "Oh, Krishna, it's okay now. Open your mouth. Come on. Open your mouth. Come on. Open your mouth." And he said, "All right." He wiped the sand away from his mouth, and he slowly opened. And his mother looked inside, and she couldn't believe her eyes, because inside of his mouth, she saw mountains and oceans. She saw lightning and fire. She saw Krishna on the beach, and she saw herself. And she fainted. Krishna said, "Arise, mother. Don't be alarmed. I am Lord Krishna. I have come from Udipi to uplift this world." And Krishna's mother was so happy. She said, "Krishna, you quickly come here to me." So this next dance is called Krishna Ni Begane. So could you read the story as it were? Good, excellent. So you're becoming fluent in this language, this new language, because dance really is a language. And the mudras I think of as the alphabet, and in fact, young children, when they're first learning, they go through a very laborious educational task of learning all of the mudras one by one and chanting them, and then doing all of the footwork little by little, then doing basic steps that are very simple, until finally they can piece everything together and it becomes sentences and then a story. So I'm going to show you a little bit of where this dance comes from with some pictures that I have. So, as I said, this dance originated in South India, and there are many different kinds of dance in India because it's such a large and diverse country. In the subcontinent, there are so many different cultures, cuisines, languages, and art forms. So some of the dance that you see in southern India might look quite different from the dance in northern India. And the dance that I do is called Kuchipudi and Bharatnatyam. So Kuchipudi began in this region in Andhra Pradesh, and Bharatnatyam in Tamil Nadu. You can go to the next one, thanks. And the dance form Bharatnatyam started over 4,000 years ago in the Hindu temples. Now, India is a diverse country, like I said. There are many Muslims, lots of Christians, small population of Jews, Christian scientists, everything. But most people are Hindu. And so most people go to temples to worship. And inside of the temples, there is a deity that people go to honor. Go to the next one. So that was a southern temple. This is in northern India. There's a huge variety of temples, but they all reach up into the sky. You can see this one is made out of white marble. And this is where the dancers began. So Devadasis, or women who were committed to the temples and married to the gods, would go there and dance their praises and their worship of the different deities, both gods and goddesses. And there were sculptors and painters and singers, and they would all create art in honor of the different gods and goddesses. Here you can see a temple that's really colorful. It's almost like a tableau of a story from Hinduism. So you can read it by looking at the different characters and see, oh, okay, this one is Shiva because of what he's holding, or this one is Lakshmi of how she is standing. You can tell by their poses and by what they're doing and what they're holding and the objects and the animals associated with them. Next one. Here's a temple inside of which you get a nice picture of Shiva, who's a really popular god. And if you ever go to a museum of fine arts or an Asian art museum where they have a good Indian or South Asian art exhibit, you might see in sculptures or in paintings these different gods. For instance, Shiva here has a trident in his hand. He's standing here with Parvati, his consort, or his female half. And you see a lot of analogies to another kind of mythology. Can you think of another kind of ancient mythology where someone has a trident?
Greek.
Yes, exactly. So there's so many parallels, and it's really analogous to Greek mythology. So, but this religion, Hinduism, started about 6,000 years ago, so it's a bit older. And it's also still in practice. Greek mythology is now done, and people practice other religion. But Hinduism is still very much alive and well. This is Nandi the bull, and Nandi is the vehicle of Shiva, who we saw with the trident. So all of the different gods have their own animal. For instance, in the first dance I showed you, Ganapati Vandana, it shows him riding upon a mouse. Saraswati rides upon a swan. So they all have a vehicle. And people pay homage to them. You can see with the flower garlands and the sweets that people offer to the different gods and goddesses, as well as some of the animals. Here is Ganapati or Ganesha. So there are many different gods and goddesses, and to make it a little more confusing, they're known by different names as well. So Ganapati or Ganesha is pictured here. You can see he has the body of a man and the head of an elephant. He's holding a book and a lotus, and he writes with one of his tusks. Okay, next one. Here is Durga, one of my favorites. She is here destroying a demon of ignorance. And she has 10 arms, and in each hand she holds a different weapon. And what Greek goddess might she be like? Yes, exactly, like Athena, the goddess of war, very martial goddess. So there's a story I really like about her, where one day, many years ago, there was an evil demon king wreaking havoc on earth. And all the people were frightened and asked the gods for help, but the gods couldn't stop him. But they said, Durga can stop him. So Durga went down to earth, riding on her tiger, with a different weapon in each of her 10 hands. And when that evil demon king saw her, he fell in love with her. But she said, no, I'm going to fight you. And she did. And she fought him and brought peace back to earth. So the music that you hear that accompanies South Indian classical dance is Carnatic music, or classical music from the South. And this is the instrument that gives the melody in most of the songs. It's a veena, and it's a gourd or a larger gourd at one end with a smaller one at the top. This instrument is said to be the most like the human voice. It's a very rich, lyrical sound, and it has a very long neck that one strums. And the next one. This is a mridangam, so this is the drumming that you hear. And it's a double-headed drum. You play it on 2 sides. And this is an older drum. It's the predecessor to the tabla. If any of you are interested in Indian music and you've heard of the tabla, that's a North Indian drum that became popularized by several different musicians who toured here. You can hear it in a lot of American pop music sometimes too. And one more. Lastly, this is a Nattu Vangar. A Nattu Vangar is a unique musician. Here you see her holding small cymbals. She is beating out the footwork of the dancer. So as the dancer is moving across the floor, she watches very closely and taps out the rhythms of the feet. So it's a really organic, kind of integrated little orchestra that plays along with a dancer or dancers because they're very, very much linked. So that's a little bit about where that dance came from.
Thank you.
Would you like to come dance?
No, that's okay.
Would you like to try some?
Yeah.
Great, come on up. Good. How old are you?
17.
Excellent. What's your name?
Allison?
Allison. Have you ever done any kind of dance before?
I think I did in like second grade.
Oh, okay.
It was a while.
So it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Oh, good. Well, I'll give you some choice since you're the star pupil. Would you rather learn some poses of the different gods to show them like you would see in the sculptures? Or would you rather learn some footwork and show some rhythms?
Maybe footwork? I don't
Okay,
know.
sure. All right. Well, the first thing I'll show you is the bow that we do, the namaskar that we do before and after we dance. So we start standing like this, and you stamp the right foot and open the arms out to the side. Exactly, good. Then you step forward with the right foot, and the hands come forward and meet, kind of like a mountain peak. Perfect. And then you join the feet, and the hands come down to the head and to the heart, and you bend the knees and lift the heel. You do that perfectly. So many people fall over. And then you touch the floor. You close the eyes, touch the eyelids. The palms come together over the head. Good. To the head, and you start to rise up and back to the heart, and you close the feet again. Excellent. Good. Good job. Yes. All right, so now we'll just do some really simple footwork. So you can start, we're not going to do any mudras at the same time because that takes a little practice. You're just going to leave your hands behind you like that. You're going to open the feet and bend your knees, and you're going to step out with the right foot. Then you're going to bring the left foot, and so you're on the ball of the foot, that's right, and then stamp the left foot. So you're going to stamp right, and then left toe, and stamp left. Good. And you are all going to be musicians, and you're going to give us the beat, which is ta, ki, ta. So try saying it while we do it. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Good. Should we try it the other way? So we'll do it with our left foot. So you're going to stamp the left foot. Ta, ki, ta. Good. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Wonderful. Should we try it faster? Because it seemed easy for her, right? Okay, so musicians, we're going to say the beat a little bit faster. Ready? And ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta. Now the other way. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Excellent. Good job. Good. Now let's finish with our bow. So we're going to again start here. We're going to stamp the right foot and open out the hands. Good. And step forward. And then feet come together and you open the feet and bend the knees. Good. As you sit, you touch the floor, touch the eyelids, apologizing to Mother Earth for stamping on her. And you come up and bow. Wonderful. Thank you. Namaste. Allison, are you an athlete?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, I can see you have a good facility with movement. That's great. Good. So I'm going to do one last dance for you. And in this last dance, I'm not going to tell you much about it because now you can read the dances a little bit. So you can watch and see what you think it is and what's happening. One thing I'll tell you is this dance is about Saraswati. She's my favorite. She's the goddess of art and education. So I like her for obvious reasons. But you can look at the sculpture of her later up close if you'd like to. But in the meantime, I'm going to perform a dance called Shringhar Leri. Do you have any ideas of what it's about?
Somebody getting prepared for a wedding ceremony, perhaps?
That's a good observation. It's not for a wedding, but she is getting adorned. So she's putting on lots of jewelry and the eye makeup, the tika, which is usually up here, and lots of bangles and everything else. Good. The last thing I wanted to tell you about is my costume briefly. Now this is a classical South Indian dance costume, so it's made specifically for this kind of dance performance. It's not worn for anything else. And the colors sometimes have symbolism, but this particular costume I just chose because I liked the colors. And we wear a lot of jewelry because we're celebrating the divine, and we're also dressing as we imagine the gods to dress themselves. So people always are curious about it. And this costume is made out of a silk sari. A sari is a long piece of fabric that women in India wear. They wrap it around their waist, around a petticoat, and they fold it and pleat it and put it over the shoulder. So this is cut and sewed to look like a sari with the folds here, but it's actually pants, a separate blouse, and everything, so it's much easier to be athletic in. It's more practical. Well, thank you so much. You've been a small but wonderful audience. And I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me here. Namaste. Thank you.